And now, a special passage from the H&M Trucking Podcast. And on the 8th day, God looked down on his creation and said, I need someone to move goods across this vast land of America to deliver the products of the farms and factories to the people who need them. So God made a truck driver. God said, I need someone who is willing to work long hours, to drive through the night, to battle traffic and weather and all manner of obstacles just to get the job done. So God made a truck driver. I need someone who can handle the responsibility of moving thousands of pounds of cargo safely and efficiently, who can navigate the highways and byways of this great land with skill and precision. So God made a truck driver. I need someone who can be away from home for days or even weeks at a time, who can handle the isolation and loneliness that comes with life on the road. So God made a truck driver. I need someone who can adapt to changing circumstances, who can think on their feet and come up with solutions when things don't go as planned. So God made a truck driver. I need someone who can handle the stress and pressure of the job, who can keep a cool head in the face of deadlines and unexpected challenges. So God made a truck driver. And when God finished creating the truck driver, he looked upon his work and said, It is good. I have created someone who is tough, reliable, and dedicated, someone who is essential to the functioning of this great country. I have created a truck driver. And to all you truck drivers out there listening, thank you for being tough, reliable, dedicated, and able to put up with all of the obstacles that you do every day. We do this podcast for you. From all of us here at the H&M Trucking Podcast family, thank you.
From Omaha, Nebraska, to whatever lane you're driving, this is the H&M Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the H&M Trucking Podcast. As always, I am your host, Marcus. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode. I told you last week, Deanna, that if you weren't careful, you might end up as a co-host of this podcast. Now, co-host might be a little bit strong at this point, but you're joining us again. This is the third week in the row. Welcome back, Deanna from Driver Advocacy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Marcus. You did warn me. So I can't.
I did.
I mean, you gave me thorough warning. So I'm happy to be back.
You know, I've lived with me for 38 years now, and I just feel like I have a bead drawn on myself. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Mostly, I try to just insulate people from me, and that was kind of what I was trying to do for you. Okay, so.
Well, I'm glad it didn't work.
Yeah. So, what's the word on the street this week? How are drivers feeling out there, and what are they dealing with? What are they talking about?
This week has been pretty awesome. I got so many Happy Easter gifts in my little text message chat. I felt so honored. It was so sweet. I was like, "Aw, they're thinking about me. That's so nice."
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love those interesting memes that they send. One driver actually sent me his picture and he was like, "Hey, hope you're doing well. Hope I had a great conversation with you." And that's always warm and fuzzy. Like, "Aw, they care." So that was fun.
It's just a testament, I think, to how valuable the program really is. You know, you're forming real connections. You're not just forming, on the surface connections. Knowing you and getting to meet you in person and just, chatting with you for a while. You are one of the most genuine people, I think, working for our company here. And or working in, I guess, concert with the company. Let's put it that way. And I couldn't find a better person. Like, I feel so fortunate because I have the best audio ninja in the world in my producer, Mike, who's watching behind the scenes right now. And I also get to work with the best driver advocate, I think, in the world. So, I'm just going to rain down compliments on you because I see this working really well for the drivers. I know they love it and they love you. And I'm happy that they pay it forward a little bit or pay it back with some sentiments on Easter. Did you have any of them send you like an egg with a prize in it or a chocolate bunny or anything fun like that yet?
No, I wish. That's the goal, right? That's the high achievement. So maybe one day. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely send it back tenfold. I appreciate all the little messages. I even had one guy who sent me a picture of his dog, and I was like, I melted instantly. I was like, that is the cutest dog I've ever seen in my life. Like, hold the phone. He gave me a spiel about how his dog's name was Maverick, and he met the real Maverick in real life.
We have talked to him. Actually, we've had him on.
He is such a cool guy. Like, I was like, oh, wow. I mean, how do you get better in life than that? Like, your dog meets the real Maverick. I mean, like, that's just goals. So,
yep.
I mean, little moments like that, he shared the YouTube with me, and I was like, this is so cool. Like, my job's awesome. Like, I just get to hang out and reap the rewards of just talking to these guys and gals, and it's incredible. I have the best job ever.
Being an animal lover in this job has been really fun because you don't really think about how many truck drivers are going around out there with a dog or a cat in the cab, and it's a pretty high number. And H&M having the policy that they have where they're totally cool with it, it's just so cool. Like I would be the same. Like, drivers, if you're out there and you've got my number from a time that we've talked in the past, go ahead and text me a picture of your dog too. Melt me into a puddle, please, because I need it all through the week. Like, my whole support system is 2 corgis that live downstairs. So that's like my life, you know. But I'm glad that they're brightening your day with those. Now, I wanted to ask you about this because over here in Oregon where I'm at, it's mid-April and the weather is bonkers. That's the best way I could describe it. There's snow in the mountains. People are having some of the best skiing conditions. We got forecast 70 degrees and sunny all last weekend. It hasn't stopped raining for 7 or 8 days here in Eugene. Are the drivers out there dealing with any weather across the states that they've been talking to you about? Any hiccups or anything like that you've heard?
Oh boy, the weather. I stay attuned to the weather because of these drivers. I feel like I talk to them, and that's like the first thing we chat about is the weather. They'll tell me exactly which highways to avoid, where to avoid during the winter months. And I'm like, God, thanks. I've heard Highway 80 more than I care to mention through like North Dakota, South Dakota, like that area. They're like, steer clear. I'm like, check. Will not be going anywhere near Highway 80 during the winter months ever. But I mean, yeah, I think a lot of them are ready for the spring, which I totally understand. They are ready for warmer weather because it's been a brutal winter. It's been brutal.
It has.
I've heard from one driver that he literally had a boat in the middle of the highway. Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but... Yeah,
I mean, listen, if there's snow on the ground in your general vicinity, you can leave your boat at home. Nobody wants to be on water when it's snowing. It's just, we're not deadliest catch out here, okay?
You're telling me. I was like, how? He was like, it wasn't on a trailer, nothing. Like, someone just like took off with the trailer and left the boat in the middle of the highway. I'm like, okay. That's a new one.
Maybe they were just convinced that the weather was never going to get good again. And they're just like, let's leave the boat here. When it floods sometime, eventually I'll come out and ride it.
Yeah, when the ice melts, I'll come back.
Right. Well, drive safe out there, drivers. As always, we're thinking about you in that right. And I have seen the pictures of Interstate 80 that Deanna's talking about. They seem to flood the internet during this time of year. And wow, there's some conditions out there that I wouldn't want to walk in, let alone drive a fully loaded truck in. So big ups to Puffy on that one. Thank you guys so much for being those people and not making me do it. You would find my truck in the middle of the road, probably on its side. Finally here, before I let you go, today's episode, we're talking about Prestige trailers, notably their Distinction Hopper Bottom, which H&M runs in the Hopper division. Do you hear any drivers talking to you about like old equipment versus new equipment? Are they ever like really kind of wanting to get their hands on that newest, flashiest, coolest piece of equipment?
The one thing I have heard from some gentlemen and some ladies on the hopper side is they wish there was some sort of insulation in the trailer that could kind of keep the cold out, because they kind of battle a lot of times when they're going down the road and it's like negative something outside, they battle the trailer and trying to keeping it warm or cold, whatever they have in the trailer. But I mean, I think everyone kind of wants the newer equipment. I mean, that's just like human nature, I feel like. So I would say from my end, probably more the newer. the newer trailer editions, but I mean, I think some drivers are, I get a mix. So I get a mix of drivers that are like old fashioned. They like it the old way. They know that trailer like the back of their hand. So they don't want anything new. And then I have other drivers that are like, I can't wait to get a new truck or a new, system working. So it really, it's a balance. I feel like some drivers are old school and some drivers want the new stuff.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I mean, there's some things about like, in high school, I had a 1972 Chevy and the windows I had to roll down, and it was just a big engine kind of surrounded by some Detroit steel, and it looked really cool and was really fast. As far as technology went, nothing. I mean, not a single shave of it. And if you gave me that truck again today, I think I would like driving it more just because I'm not so distracted by all the bells and whistles. That being said, if you take away my screen where I can look and see exactly what I'm listening to at exactly what time and I can skip by the second, I will be a road rage problem, okay? So I totally understand that. Makes total sense to me. Everybody wants something shiny and new until you get into it and you're like, wow, I don't know how to run this.
Yeah, it's like you're in a cockpit all of a sudden. You're like, what are these buttons do? Like, well, just push them and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get popped in the face with an airbag that you weren't expecting or something like that, right?
Ejected into the air. Like, whoops, shouldn't have pushed that button.
Well, Deanna, real quick, refresh us on your hours. When are you available to take calls?
Yeah, so I'm on Eastern time, so I work 10 to 6 p.m.
Okay, and that's Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday, and then I do 3 hours on Sunday. I do 3 to 6 on Sunday.
There you go.
Yeah.
No reason for you not to be utilizing the driver advocacy program. Drivers, give her a call. I'm trying to prove it to you. You don't have to take my word for it. She's pretty fun to talk to. Deanna from Driver Advocacy, as always, thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk to you again later on.
Thanks, guys.
Joining us today on the H&M Trucking Podcast, this is a very special interview. We've got two people here today. We're talking about Prestige trailers, of course. These gentlemen are very knowledgeable in that right. I've got Jason and Arlen here. Go ahead and introduce yourself, fellas. Let me know who you work for and why you're here today. We'll start with you, Jason.
Hey, Marcus. Thanks for having me. I'm Jason Fischer. I'm with Jim Hawk Truck Trailers in Council Bluffs, Iowa. I represent the Nebraska territory for Jim Hawk. Yeah, we're partnering up with Prestige and H&M, and it's a great partnership so far. We're super happy with it.
Great to hear. Thanks for being here, Jason. And Arlen, how about you?
Yeah, my name's Arlen Hildebrand. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing for Prestige Trailers, the manufacturer that have joined forces with Jim Hawk Trailers, and we're very happy to have gotten a nice order through H&M.
Well, from what I understand, H&M is very happy on the other side of that coin as well. I've been doing some research into the Prestige Distinction aluminum trailer, and you guys have a great website, first of all. You can check that out, prestigetrailers.com, where Arlen is the star of a great video on the Distinction trailer. Tell me a little bit about the Distinction, what you aim to bring the trucking industry with that particular trailer, and maybe why H&M jumped on it.
Well, there was, we built a double-walled aluminum trailer, which is very common in the marketplace today. There's several different manufacturers that are building that same product. So it's not new to the market, so to speak, but what we've done is made some unique changes that are a little different than some of our competitors currently use, and just the look is slightly different, and we've integrated a few different options that we felt with customer feedback that they would be wanting to see or have in their trailers. Maybe those are some of the features that some of the companies have latched onto and embraced.
From my angle, that's exactly how I got H&M to bite on it. Now, it took me some time. They were pretty loyal to a competitor, so it took a few years, but I had them over here a couple different times for some show and tells, and the fit and finish on the Prestige product is top notch for sure. It almost sells itself.
I mean, I just looking at the website, I was amazed. I'm not as familiar with you guys are, obviously, with tractor trailers. But when I look at that, it looks like I'm looking at like a brand new Chevy on a Chevy lot or something. It's got the clean lines. It's got the chrome. It's just such a pretty looking trailer. Arlen, you mentioned customer feedback. How important is that in your design process?
Well, that's something that is very important to us. And I should mention that this product is newer in the U.S. market as opposed to the Canadian market. We've been building this product or like product in the Canadian market since 2009. So we've gone through some trials and tribulations launching this product, and we've learned a lot of things before we launched with the Prestige brand name in the U.S. market. So, we relied on people that use those trailers every day. They came back to us and say, you know what, this would be so much better if we did this, or, I would like this feature if you guys could incorporate that into the trailer. So a lot of those things that we've seen or Jason and his customers have seen are an actual result of customer feedback. We came up with the initial design and we put it into customers' hands, and we've had some meetings with some key customers when we were first designing this trailer, and they kind of said, we'd like to see this. We'd like to see a smooth aluminum wall versus a corrugated wall. It makes things easier to clean, things like that. Little things you don't really realize until you start listening to your customers and some of the things that they would like to see.
For sure. I wish that, like computer companies or maybe the people that produce audio hardware that I use would listen to the people in the weeds once in a while like you did, because I have some suggestions, but, they don't really care what I have to say, Jason, to be honest with you. So it's nice that the Prestige does.
And from our aspect, along with the customers, what's so nice about Prestige and Arlen is they do listen to you. If you have a suggestion, they actually are open-minded and are willing to work with you and make the changes. Not everybody does that.
Absolutely. So, Arlen, I'll give you a chance here real quick. Why don't you tell me about kind of the story and the mission of Prestige Trailers, if you would?
Well, our company, our parent company, is owned by a group of companies called EEE Canada, which is a division of a bunch of different companies. So we have a Canadian trailer division called Load King, spelled incorrectly. And we also have the Prestige brand, which we launched approximately 7 years ago for the U.S. market. So at first it was confusing. A lot of our U.S. customers had no idea what Prestige was. They've seen Load King trailers running down the road, but they had no idea we were the same company. So that's taken some time, especially our dealers, and Jason can probably attest to that, saying, this took, people are saying, like, what's a Prestige trailer? And some of them had heard of the name Load King. So backing up, our group of companies is owned by a family. There's an uncle and a nephew that own our company. So we're a family-owned company. We're not publicly traded. We always say we're big enough to make a difference and small enough to care. And if you look at our other half of our company is totally opposite of trailers. We build recreational vehicles under the brand name of Leisure Travel. And so we have two very unique companies, and we've kind of fed each other. That company is very big on innovation and new ideas, and we've incorporated some of those same learning curves into our learning practices into our trailer manufacturing as well. So backing up, the RV division started in 1965.
Oh, wow. And
when Terry was a young man, the nephew that runs, he sits in the chair here at the Prestige. He was 26 years old. In 1980, he started Load King with 30,000 square feet and 30 employees. And we've now grown our company to over 400,000 square feet and 400 plus employees. So it's a success story, and customer satisfaction is number one to him. So looking after the customer, looking after our dealers, and we form long-term relationships with many of our dealers. Many of our dealers have been with us for 20 plus years. It says something to how we treat people, and I'm not boasting. I'm just saying this is just kind of how we run our business.
Well, look, if you want to boast, this podcast is the perfect opportunity to do so, Arlen, because
I'd rather give you the facts than boast.
Well, that's a great story. And in watching the video, some of the videos on your website there, I did notice that your employees like to testify to the fact that the company runs like a big family, and H&M Trucking really likes to operate with the same mindset. How would you describe your experience in working with Jim and James at H&M? And this question is for either of you that want to take it.
I think that's why we get along so well, the three of us, because they are all family-oriented operations. And Arlen said it well. You're big enough to make a difference, but you're small enough to still care. And this is the same way. Jim Hawk and Dave Hawk are brothers. They own it. Jim's son Jimmy works in an office right next to me. We truly care about our people. Happy employees, they make a big difference, and H&M's the same way. So I think that's why we all get along so well. Actually, you truly, you start with a business relationship, and next thing you know, you are friends as well. And, that helps.
Absolutely. So since you're kind of focused on the sale, well, you both are focused on the sales, but Jason, I got to ask you this question. Why Prestige Trailers? Let's say I'm just walking into Jim Hawk and I'm asking you straight up, why do I need to buy this one? What would you tell me?
The thing about Prestige is quite honestly kind of what we've been touching on. Their fit and finish, it almost sells itself. All you got to do is, you hit on the features and benefits, the clean lines, the repairability, just how easy they are to work with. And then literally you get somebody to go walk around this trailer and it sells itself. It really does.
It's no surprise that the parent company manufactures RVs as well, because you can tell that there's design decisions that have gone into this trailer that do make it stand out sitting on the lot from these other trailers. And I just, I'm such a fan of clean lines. I was a little bit of an old-fashioned kid. I had a 1972 Chevy growing up, and I liked the simplicity and just the look and the feel of the paint on the chrome. Just a super cool-looking trailer. What do the drivers love about it? Obviously, they're the ones that have to deal with it. We all can sit here and look at it and say it looks great. Functionally, are there a few things that the drivers have picked out that have said, like, this is the reason that this trailer is the one that we have to have?
Drivers like shiny. And these trailers are shiny. And the lights on the back end, they ran with the B light package. So there's plenty of lights on the rear end. And like you said, it has clean lines and there's lots of lights and it's shiny all over. So, they're gonna hook up to that every time if they can.
There's and adding to that, Jason, there's things that we've done differently. So I mentioned they look similar. There are differences that we've built into the trailer based on feedback, like a different coupler plate that we run in the front of the trailer that helps save the fenders on the truck, which is big to a guy that's just spent $300,000 on his brand new Kenworth, and the last thing you want to do is fold down his fenders.
Yeah,
right.
And that was that came back to us from a driver who had just done that and says, like, holy man, you guys have to do something here. I remember the first trailers we built, we had a system of opening our trap doors that worked well in the Canadian market because of the size of a chute. We went to a larger chute size in the U.S. market, and what we thought worked really well for us did not work in that market. So we had to step back and say, you know what, we're going to have to make something that works for this market. We tested it for many years before we released it, and I think we have a trap or a gate opening system that's as good as any on the market. And Jason, you can probably attest to that. People talk.
Yeah.
First thing I see at a trade show is I'm going and they open and close the door. It's just like you can see all the shiny, but the first thing they'll do is they grab the crank and open and close the door. Okay, well, that works pretty good. So they're looking for functionality as well.
That Teflon piece that you have in there really, it makes a big difference too, and the gear driven. Another thing I've heard the drivers say is the sloped front and rear. It's easier for them to crawl up and down on the trailer. Helps with safety too.
And how's that? Just because they're not as prone to slip and fall?
Right. Yeah, it's not a straight 90-degree angle. It's is it a 30-degree slope?
It's a tapered end wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We just had I just toured a college from North Dakota. They had their ag students contacted me this month, and they wanted to have a plant tour. these kids are going to school and they're mostly farm kids, and it was kind of cool to take them through our factory. And it was amazing. They all live on a farm with a grain trailer. The perception, I was just listening to the kids talk, and they were talking about, well, you guys have a different slope angle for your hoppers. That'll clean out better. They saw how our electrical harnesses were put into the trailer, and they said, well, our trailer at home doesn't have that. So it was amazing. These 18 to 22-year-old kids were picking up on some of the features that we had built in the trailer. So at the end of the deal, I quizzed them as to which trailer they were going to buy next for the farm, and they were all Prestige. So Jason, you got a few more sales coming your way. 2 or 3 years from now.
Sounds like maybe a steak dinner needs to come back Arlen's way for that, huh?
Yeah. In our shop, not that we've had to work on, they've had a couple accidents. Naturally, it's par for the course. But they're easy to work on too. Arlen touched on it, the way they run all their wiring and stuff through the bottom rail. Not only is it clean and it keeps it, from getting damaged over time, they're easy to work on. And Randall, if they have any questions, is Johnny on the spot and getting them any of the information they need. So that helps a whole bunch too.
Absolutely. I mean, just in a small amount of time I've spent in like an auto garage and watching mechanics work, there's not a lot of automobiles that are built to help mechanics get things done these days. And it looks like it gets harder and harder on them. So I imagine having somebody be able to just go in, work on it, get the job done, and not have 1,000 headaches along the way probably just helps morale all around. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, you want to keep your drivers and your mechanics happy. Them guys are both hard to replace,
Yes, they are. They absolutely are. So, I want to get to a little bit of the fun stuff here. I did see on the website that you've got some different paint schemes that are offered. You guys want to talk a little bit about the paint schemes that are offered on the Distinction, and maybe let us in on what your favorite model is, what the favorite look is among you two?
Well, I'll start first, Jason. We have 3 sidewall color options that you can choose from. We don't have a full rainbow. We do have a white, the standard white that you see every day on the road, and black, of course. And we came up with a graphite metallic, which is my favorite. It makes things look different, and graphite looks great with stainless end walls and stainless corner posts. So Jason, I see some of your guys have been ordering the graphite trailers. I think when they see it in person, it's one thing on the builder. Marcus, you can, we have a builder on our website, so you can actually visualize what this trailer will look like when you choose the different sidewall colors. It looks a lot more impressive in real than it does on our website. You can only do so much on a website.
It was so much fun. I got to spend the day with Arlen at the Iowa Farm Progress Show last summer, and they brought a metallic trailer to the show. It was all tricked out, their extra lights and everything, and man, it turned heads. That was a fun day. It really was. That's a cool trailer.
Yeah, it really is. And I'll be 100% honest with you guys. You're sharing your time here with me, so the least I can do is tell you the truth. I built like 4 or 5 of them on the website when I was poking around. Yeah, and I hope that it wasn't just pinging you guys with emails to reach out to me, because I got to be honest, they wouldn't give me a CDL if I paid them, so I don't have any use for the trailer myself, but I was having fun. The website is very functional, and if you're a driver out there, maybe an owner-operator thinking about something like that, definitely go take a look. But, H&M's already got some of these on board. So now I understand there's some different color options as far as the tarp is concerned. How crazy can I get? Like, hot pink, or maybe an American flag with an eagle busting through it, or what do you got for me there?
Well, our standard options are we pretty much have the whole rainbow covered, but we don't have any hot pink that I know of.
Dang it.
But I'm sure if we call the tarps are supplied to us by a manufacturer in South Dakota, and I'm sure if we call them and if we spent enough money, we'd probably get hot pink. I don't know about the American flag, but Jason, you might have somebody in Council Bluffs that could pull that off for us.
Like you said, sky's the limit.
All it takes is a little money. Will probably get you whatever you want, right?
Time and money, yes, sir.
The almighty dollar, for sure. Now, I was also just doing some research, poking around on the internet. Nothing is a secret anymore. And I found, and I don't think you'd want this to be a secret, that Prestige Trailers is featured in American Truck Simulator software.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have ever played the game or the simulator or anything like that, but how cool is it to know that your product is available for use in such an advanced piece of technology that is so popular within the industry?
Well, Marcus, that's something that I will not take credit for. We have a marketing group of guys working for us that are probably 25 years younger than I am, and they're all gamers, and they all love this stuff. And they created this little deal, and I kind of laughed when they first came and said to me, "You know what, we want to do this," and I said, "Yeah, whatever." And it's amazing how many people are playing and following and doing. We actually had a giveaway launched on the site, and we had a lot of people playing that. Yeah, it's kind of neat to see. I don't know, Jason, have you played it?
I have not played it, but it's definitely, you guys are ahead of the curve on that for sure.
Yeah, these simulator games, to somebody that's grown up with video games my entire life, I hear, farming simulator or pressure washing simulator. They've got all these where I kind of feel like that's just meant for you to hold a controller and just pass time. But I honestly feel like American Truck Simulator, when I've seen some of the gaming rigs that these guys set up where they're full-on monitors all the way around, and it actually looks like they're looking out their windows, and they've got gear shifts and steering wheels. That to me is like, man, that's a training simulator right there. A lot like Flight Simulator could be. You could learn how to drive a truck. Well, everything except for the road rage, that comes from the people around you. That's the one thing I don't know if they can simulate in a video game. If they do want to simulate it, look, I can't drive the big trucks, but I can yell out the window of a small one like nobody's business.
Got it down pat.
So if they ever need that, I'm more than happy to come by and lend my voice. But I want to give you guys both a chance to just talk a little bit to the drivers out there. Maybe they're not driving a Prestige trailer at this point or pulling one, but maybe they might be in the future. Is there anything you would like to relay about, the company, the trailer itself, your thoughts on the industry, anything like that? Arlen, we'll go with you first.
Well, first of all, I appreciate that, Marcus. First of all, I'd like to thank all the customers that we've gained in the past 7 years. 8 years ago, we didn't have one customer in the U.S. market. Today, we've got hundreds of them. And it's not without the support and the faith that those guys took in buying a brand that was unknown to them based on what I told them at a show or what Jason may have told them at a show. They didn't have a neighbor they could call and say, "Hey, Bob, what's this trailer like?" They were the Bobs. They bought the trailer. They took the step. And I remember there was a customer, and I won't mention his name. He's from Minnesota. He bought the first trailer. I'll never forget him. I sold it to him at a farm show. Just 2 weeks ago, I saw his name come across the order board, and I took and phoned him. I saved his phone number. And I says, "I got to thank you for buying your third Prestige trailer." And that's 3 in 7 years. And he says, "You know what? It's probably the best trailer I've ever owned. And I just enjoy buying them. I enjoy my dealer." So, without the customers, we're nobody. We're just a name. And customers and our dealers, we haven't given the dealers credit either. They took faith. I was rolling around 7 years ago trying to pick up dealers. And often I got to the front door and a very polite receptionist says, "You know what, we're not really interested." So I felt like the vacuum guy getting the door slammed. We don't need that. Thank you. And I remember there was one dealer that actually I called him, and I was pretty much on my knees begging him. I says, I just need 15 minutes of your time. And he goes, "Okay, well, 15. And I rolled in at 4:45 on a Friday. That sets a real standard coming in on a Friday. They are still our dealer today. And I was with them last 2 weeks ago, and I thanked them again for the 15 minutes. I says, that was probably the best 15 minutes of my life. And it's not without, again, customers and our dealers that have put us on the map. So just a big thank you for people that have taken that step. We're open to talk. We take calls here at the factory. We have a quoting system that you can build trailers, pick your dealer. You can if you want Jason to sell your trailer, you send your quote to Council Bluffs, and he will get this quote request and build you a trailer.
That's great. We'll talk about a warm, fuzzy feeling when your first customer buys the third trailer and then tells you that it's probably the best one he's ever towed. I mean, that's got to make you feel pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I was a little puffed up that day.
I imagine. Jason, how about you?
Hey, these guys are great to work with, and Arlen's right. When they came in, the grain trailer market can be unique as far as, farmers, they buy the trailer that their grandpa did and their dad did, and this is what I've always used, and this is what we use. So it can be an uphill battle when you're trying to get these guys into a new piece of equipment, but they make such a good product and they're so easy to work with. You get them to try it and touch it and feel it and smell it. You got a customer for life.
And what exactly does the distinction smell like, if you don't mind? I haven't been up
that
close
new
to
car
one.
smell.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, hey, if you're driving around out there, once you get stopped, hop on over to prestigetrailers.com and check it out. And Jason, where can they find information about Jim Hawk?
We have a website. It's www.jhtt.com. And you also, if you search us on YouTube, we have all kinds of YouTube videos out there as well.
That's great. Go check out the media. And if you are going to Jim Hawk, you talk to Jason and nobody else, and you tell them that this podcast sent you. That's what we're really looking for here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta return the favor in any way that I can. Gentlemen, it's been an honor to have you here. Thank you again for your time. Thank you for making such a great product, and thank you for being such a great partner to H&M. If you have anything left that you didn't get to say, now's the time. But if not, I know there's work to be done, so I can let you get back to it.
Hey, the pleasure was all mine, Marcus. We appreciate you, and thank you guys so much for having faith in us.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you reaching out, Marcus, and I look forward to. I've never met the guys from H&M personally, and I understand we're going to be doing a plant tour shortly in the next few months, and I look forward to welcome them to our factory.
Awesome. Well, Arlen, Jason, thank you so much. You guys have a great day. Okay.
Take care.
Hey, appreciate you. Thanks, Marcus.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
See ya.
Joining us now on the program is somebody with a new gig. His name is Dean Edmunds, and he is going to be replacing John Witzke as the safety director. Dean, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm great. I'm very excited about the new change.
Now, what was your position before you took on this new one?
Previous to being the safety manager, I was a safety specialist.
Okay, so you're kind of familiar with what's going on here anyway. Your game is safety, is what you're telling me.
Exactly. I've worked with John for, close to a year now, and I have some previous safety experience before that. So I'm just looking forward to some new challenges and some new opportunities.
Absolutely. What would you consider some of the challenges that you'll face as the safety director, that differ from the challenges you faced as a safety specialist?
The biggest thing is just living up to the expectations, living up to what John's already put forward for everybody, and just following in his footsteps and doing the right thing and doing everything right.
Yeah, and John set a pretty high bar there, from what I understand. I have more than enough faith in you to be able to achieve that and even more. But I think on his way out, we got to give a little tip of the cap to John. He did a great job there. We had him on the podcast back when we were doing a podcast called Unplugged OTR. Had a lot of fun talking to him. He sent me some safety briefs to read on the podcast over the episodes, and it's going to be tough without him, but on to bigger and better things, and same for you now as it turns out, right?
Very much so. Definitely. I'm excited for the future. I've worked with John, like I said, for over a year now. Him and I seem to have the same thought process and ideas about situations that we've dealt with. So I don't expect things to change hardly at all. Hopefully just being focused on what needs to be done to keep us all safe and moving forward.
Absolutely. And it's probably great for the drivers that you'll have some continuity there and similarities of thought and processes. I imagine that, the safety director is somebody that you get relied on pretty heavily by the drivers for certain situations out there. is there anything, since you have all your drivers' ears right now, or at least a lot of them, any message that you'd like to send to them as the new safety director?
More so just I don't foresee or don't expect to make any big changes. Just continue to keep going on with what John has laid down for groundwork here, and let everybody know that my ears are available. If anybody ever has questions or comments, I'm here to listen and see what I can do.
And keep the shiny side up, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. Dean Edmunds, new safety director for H&M Trucking. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dean. I really appreciate you taking the time.
You bet. Thank you, and be safe.
We'll do it. As you know, we are talking about prestige trailers today, and most specifically the Distinction Hopper Bottom trailer. So we thought, why not bring on the Hopper Division Manager? I have Brenda here, and Brenda, please do introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your position, and of course, thanks for being here.
Yes, thanks, Marcus. Yeah, Brenda Hampton here with H&M Trucking. I work in the Hopper Division. I'm a manager there. Been there for 13 plus years with them now.
Oh, that's great. Nice long run there. Well, talk to me a little bit about the Hopper Division. How many hoppers do you have running currently?
We're around that 65 to 70 hoppers right now.
Okay, and is that as many as you've ever had? Is that kind of the high point? Are you guys still adding to that team?
We are still adding. We've been a lot higher than that in the past. Hopefully to get up higher in the future. But yeah, that 65 number's kind of been what we've been at for the last 2-3 years.
That's great. Okay. Well, today's episode has been full of things about the Prestige Distinction Hopper Bottom trailer. We spoke to Jason and Arlen earlier. Arlen, the sales manager over there at Prestige. What do your drivers like about the Distinction Hopper Bottom? What are some features they might be pumped about?
They're a lot cleaner. Just as far as the smooth outside, they are a little bit lighter, I believe, because of the aluminum that they hold. And that smoother edge helps to not hold the product as much as the other trailers.
Yeah, easier to clean is one thing I've heard. And yes. I mean, can you agree with me that just standing next to one, they're just a beautiful piece of equipment?
Oh, they're sharp looking. They are. They look real sharp.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if truck drivers kind of take pride in the way that their trailer looks. I know that a lot of that's probably out of their control, but look, I'm just telling you, if I was one of your hopper drivers, I would be walking around with my chest puffed out if I had one of those things hooked to the back for sure.
Yes, absolutely. When you're hooked to a sharp-looking Prestige trailer, it makes the whole unit look nice.
Now, can you talk to me just a little bit about the difference between that smooth side and the corrugated side? I understand that that's something that the drivers really like. That was something that Arlen and Jason both touched on when I spoke to them earlier. Just give me a little bit of the background on why that solves a problem.
When you've got a driver he's loading multiple different products and they're going in and out of that trailer, grain usually cleans the trailer, but when you don't have to, it's even better. And when you're sitting in a Prestige trailer and that product's running down and it's nice and clean, it makes a good sweep out. It saves you money on the long run because you're not having to wash out after every load. It's clean, and that does save us time, money, a lot of things.
Now, I'm going to just take a peek behind the curtain here, Brenda. Are you an overly clean person at home? Do you like to keep a really clean, pristine house?
Yes, I do.
So this is a big deal for you and the drivers then. I totally get it.
Yes.
I think if you were to look at my life, you were to see my house and then compare it to my vehicle, you would see two vastly different things. I don't know why that is, but maybe I should start thinking about that a little bit more, because the more I hear about how clean these Distinction hopper bottoms are, the more I kind of want to clean out my own rig, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I get the same way.
Well, look, I don't want to take up too much of your time here, but this is a chance that you get to kind of talk to all of your drivers out there. Are there any general messages or anything that you need to remind them about? Anything that you want to say to your drivers? You've got a lot of their ears right now, so please take the floor.
I just appreciate what they do out there. They have a lot of diversity out there that they've got to deal with, from customers to over-the-road people just driving, And I just appreciate what they do out there. They continue to bring happiness here, and I just, hard-working guys, I appreciate.
Yeah, I can definitely sympathize with that, or I guess resonate with that is probably a better word. And I will say this, you keep getting them good-looking, functional, and really nice trailers like the Distinction. I'm sure they're going to keep producing results for you, Brenda.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to speaking to you again in the future. That's Brenda Hampton, Hopper Division Manager. Have a great day.
You too, Marcus. Thanks.
Joining us today on the podcast, you know him as the president of H&M Trucking, Mr. James Fonda. James, how's the day treating you so far?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I can't complain. I mean, I get to do podcasts for a living, so it's a pretty good day in my life most of the time, James, to be honest with you. Today, we're talking about Prestige Trailer and, of course, specifically the Distinction Hopper Bottom. I got to talk to Jason and Arlen, who've worked pretty extensively with you guys at H&M, and I just wanted to ask you kind of the same question that I asked them. What has Prestige Trailer brought to H&M that was different from before?
So prior, we used Timothy and Wilson, and we used those for 20-some years, 25-some years, probably.
Oh, wow.
And honestly, the reason is that left the door open was he didn't really answer the phone call a couple times a couple years ago. And so it got me searching someone with a little bit better customer service. And at the same time, Jim, my shop guy, had always been really intrigued by these Prestige trailers. Finally, we just kind of took a stab at one and said, send us one, let's look at it. And right from day one, we looked at it, we're like, well, that certainly has many benefits. Everything's on the side for the trailer's needs. A little bit taller, so it's easier to get underneath. It's not aluminum; it's made of steel, so they're built great. They show great. They're giving us great warranties on them. I mean, it's like driving the Cadillac of the trailers at the moment. So.
Yeah, I've been beating this horse for the entire podcast episode here, but this is a damn good-looking trailer. I mean, I built like 3 or 4 of them on their website just to see what they had going on, and I'm impressed.
We had a customer that recently called us up, like they saw a glimpse of our new trailers going out there, because we probably got like 60 of those Prestiges on the fleet now, and they're like, they just couldn't believe how nice the trailer looked and the equipment that we're providing to haul their freight in. And, to me, I'm like, a trailer's a trailer. But, yeah, when I spotted those, I was like, well, if you're going to have nice tractors, might as well reciprocate in the back end, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably the best looking fleet on the road at this point. I mean, with all those colors and those beautiful trailers. So now, can you talk to me a little bit about just working with Arlen and Prestige, because they said that they had a really good working relationship with you, and I noticed that the two companies kind of pride themselves on running like a big family. Did you kind of feel that come through in your relationship with them?
Well, I would say it's still building. I just got an email. They actually invited me up to Canada to go visit their and watch some of our trailers actually getting built. So I'm going to either do that in end of May or end of June. I think we were right off the bat, I think we ordered like 50 trailers last year from them. So we were by far the largest order that they've ever had, I think, at one go. So obviously that starts a pretty good relationship right out the gates. And ever since, the communication back and forth has been outstanding. They ship them right here to our dealer, which is right across the river. So, typically you when you're working through dealers, you don't get the relationship that you do with the manufacturer. But in this case, just because of the situation, it's worked out in our favor.
Yeah. And Arlen, such a cool guy to talk to. You can tell just in speaking with him that, he's out there kind of beating the pavement too. He told me a story about how he sold a trailer at a trade show, the very first one that was on the road in the United States, the very first Distinction. And just, it was really cool to hear that you've got somebody that's that high up in such a nice company that's built so many things, and they're making RVs and they're doing all this crazy stuff. And he's still out there at the trade show shaking hands with people. That's dedication, unlike what you'll find a lot of times, I think.
Absolutely. The fact that, Jim has been on the phone with, I would say, Prestige, I don't know how many times, just as we're getting set up. Like, for instance, one of the trailers got like a small damage during the building process last June. And they're like, hey, we're actually just going to take this one offline and build you a completely new one. So like when you get situations like that, like, you know, what better customer service than that, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's completely unnecessary. They could easily probably fix whatever happened. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's just a testament to the quality.
And I wonder if like Chili's or Applebee's would take a note, because they still send out the burger even if they mess it up in the back, and I have to be the one that notices and sends it back. Like, this is just customer service 101, guys. Come on now.
Right.
All right. Well, Mr. Fonda, thank you so much for joining me today. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I really appreciate the insight. And get ready for more of me, man. I told Deanna the other day, like, be careful. I get my hooks into you. You're going to be on this podcast a lot, so I hope you're ready for that in the future.
Oh, you know, it's all good.
Awesome, James. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us.
All right.
James Fonda, president of H&M there, joining us on the show. We really appreciate his time. That's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Make sure you're checking us out on all the H&M Trucking social media. Share with your friends, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and look for us on YouTube and TikTok, because my happy face is going to be all over those mugs. So we will see you next week. And as always, stay fresh, cheese bags.
Thank you for listening to the H&M Trucking Podcast. Please leave a review, subscribe, and connect with Marcus over at the H&M Trucking social media channels. And if you're considering a job at H&M, find us at hmtrucking.com. Until next time, stay safe and ahead of the curve drivers.